Hi, my name is Rebecca Hanna, and this is my Behavior Reduction Reinforcement Project. This is a fourth grade blended classroom consisting of 12 students, one teacher, myself, two medical behavior associates or MBAs, and one paraprofessional. The students are taught all subjects in this classroom and transition only for specials. This is a Title I school, and all students receive free breakfast and lunch provided by the district. There are 5 general education, 2 ELL, and 5 ESE students. The description of my ELL and ESE students. I have 2 ELL students in the early production and intermediate fluency stages who are both currently on level in L1. Both students receive accommodations. I also have 5 ESE students. One has cognitive disabilities and is on the autism spectrum. One has a communication disability. 3 have EBD, and one of my EBD students also has a visual impairment. Currently, 3 of my students have IEPs and behavior plans. They all receive accommodations relating to their disabilities and needs. My classroom management plan. In my classroom, we will build positive relationships by showing interest and paying attention to students. We also praise students for appropriate behavior and provide incentives to help decrease student behaviors. To reduce aggression in any student, my staff and I will praise students for positive behaviors and ignore inappropriate behaviors. For example, John and Becky are playing a game during centers, and John tells Becky he is finished playing instead of hitting her. I will immediately say, "John, I like how you used your communication skills to tell Becky you were done playing the game at centers to let him know that when he is done doing something, he should use his communication skills to make others aware he is done rather than showing physical aggression." In my classroom, we will also use nonverbal social approval and implement and display classroom rules and a behavior plan that is taught to and visible for students. Finally, we will model acceptable behavior to provide a good example for students. Students will feed off of the energy brought into my classroom, so therefore, staff will speak with respect, have a calming posture, maintain eye contact, smile often, ignore distracting behaviors, and maintain an acceptable distance between themselves and the students. The strategies I found to be effective to reduce inappropriate behaviors in Tier 1 students include using the law of effect or operant conditioning, which was developed by Edward Thorndike, that states that when an inappropriate behavior is followed by an undesirable consequence, the behavior is less likely to be repeated in the future. We also use extinction or planned ignoring to only pay attention to the appropriate behaviors. Finally, we will modify the classroom learning environment to reinforce classroom rules and expectations and consider a classroom layout that reduces inappropriate behaviors. The strategies I found to be effective to reinforce appropriate behaviors in Tier 1 students include providing specific positive praise immediately after appropriate behaviors occur to maintain behaviors, and using interdependent group contingencies to hold the whole class accountable for their behaviors and encourage each other to receive the reward. Also, I found that being a role model so students are led by example to be an effective strategy to reinforce appropriate behaviors in Tier 1 students. The 2 strategies I can use to ensure my classroom expectations, environment, and procedures are culturally responsive are to provide specific praise and using interdependent group contingencies. The strategies I found to be effective to reinforce appropriate behaviors in Tier 2 struggling students are using response costs to award students for receiving points or tokens on a more independent level, and differential reinforcement to provide rewards for on-task or acceptable behaviors only. The strategies I have found to be effective to reduce inappropriate behaviors in Tier 3 struggling students include behavior contracts to decrease the frequency of the inappropriate behaviors due to the student self-regulating their behavior to either avoid punishment or receive rewards, and using functional behavior assessments or FBAs to identify specific problem behavior the antecedents that cause the behavior, and creating an effective consequence to stop the behavior. Thank you for watching.